All right, welcome back, fellow TFFL owners, to your weekly TFFL webcast. It is Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. We're looking back at Week 9 TFFL action, looking ahead to Week 10 action. You can see we've got two very special guests here tonight, so even though our agenda came together at the last minute, we're going to have a great show. Hey, only 4 weeks to go, believe it or not, in our season. 4 weeks to go. After this, we'll be down at the restaurant having division games in the final 3 games. So playoffs are starting to take shape. Let me give you a few headlines to get started. The Boba Fats extend their unbeaten streak to 21 games, undefeated still on the 2018 season. The Senators, the Hams, their division battle raging on. These guys both keep winning. 6-2-1 now, still tied. And they'll have a head-to-head game coming up. Nice fist pump back there, Nate. On the bad side of things, the K-Wheels. Sorry, Hank. Six straight losses now.
Yeah.
And I think in a very real way that you've entered the race for the #1 overall pick. You've still got head-to-head games against the Giant Killers and this week against the Sponge, I believe. Depending upon how those games go, you could vault into the lead, so to speak. Or you could go on and win your division. You're still not that far out in this interesting season. Yeah. Speaking of which, the Devils dropped 3 in a row now. Their grip on that division lead has slipped. Mongols, by virtue of a big win over the Aliens in Week 9, now just a game out, Terry. All the doom and gloom.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of doom and gloom, but I still keep going back to points scored, and yeah, I won, but 52 points doesn't give me a lot of hope. To put it another way, I've been crunching some numbers. My high score of the year in average points would only make me like the 6th highest scoring team in the league, if you can follow me. But that being said, good fortune on the schedule, 4-5.
It's the Mongols.
I got a tough one with the Lizards this weekend, and we'll see how it goes.
All right, just a few injuries to note. You might have actually heard it here first on the TFFL webcast. I think I was pretty early last week in forecasting that AJ Green's toe injury might keep him out actually several weeks. And indeed, he's going to be out at least for the next 2 weeks on top of the one he's already missed. That's a blow for the Boba Fats. And the Hams, I noticed, are battling a slate of injuries. Chris Carson banged up, may not play this week. Sammy Watkins banged up, probably not playing this week. And I'll throw a third name out there, Donta Foreman, running back who I think he hoped to get back by this point, still out with that Achilles injury. He may get nothing out of Foreman this year, and we'll talk to the Hams about that next week when he's on the webcast. Let me introduce our panelists, then we'll get going here. Terry, our commissioner, managing director of the Steel City Mongols. Welcome.
Hello all.
Hank, IT director of the webcast, czar and CEO of the K-Wheels.
Good to be here. Happy to be here. Easy IT night tonight. I think it was very smooth.
Well done. And two representatives of the Senators, the president pro tempore, and the junior senator from New Jersey.
How you doing? We're happy to be here.
So we're going to talk a lot about the Senators when we get to our roundtable chat. But I fear we may not hold the attention of Nate for the 20 minutes it takes us to get there. So let's talk a little Senators at the outset here. A little break from our format. Kramer, I know you've been. We were talking about grooming Nate to take over the Senators in a few decades, and you wanted to tell us how you're training him for that.
So Nate has been very into all sports, but this is the first year that he's taken a dive into fantasy football, and we tried to do it with a best ball draft with Birdo and Birdo's buddy Dave. Some of you guys know Dave. And our our team name. Nate, what was our team name?
Wait, what was it?
You just got beat by a
Oh,
third
yeah.
grader. And the website that Dave picked was junk. It was auto picking everybody, so that cratered. And for the last 8 weeks, Nate and I have been going head to head with a weekly draft. We pick 4 QBs, 5 running backs, 5 receivers, 2 tight ends, 2 kickers, 2 Ds, using the TFFL scoring system. And through the last 8 weeks, I am 3-5. Nate 5-3.
Nice.
And I won this week. I was 2-5 until I won this week. So Nate might take over the center sooner than later if his results remain the same.
Does he consult on the Senators?
We do. He knows every team. He knows pretty much every team in the TFFL. He's really eager for me to trade Brady and Gronk to the Hams for Mahomes.
Wow.
So Hams, if you're listening, we'll put that on the table right now.
Brady and Gronk for Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's already got Breeze.
No,
he traded Breeze.
Traded Breeze.
He has no backup quarterback, I don't think. All right. Hey, Nate, who's your favorite NFL team and who's your favorite player in the NFL?
My favorite team is the Eagles. And my favorite player, Wentz or Fletcher Cox.
All right.
Well, I think it should be Wentz.
Good choices.
Yeah, I would. Look. I mean, I sent you guys a shirt, a Wentz shirt. I sent Kramer a Wentz shirt. That when he got drafted immediately because he was from North Dakota.
Yes.
And I think both are great choices. Well done.
And
I should have worn that tonight. I wore a shirt. I'm wearing a shirt that Stick gave me.
There you go. Good.
Very nice.
In the Kramer's bar, I can see behind you. Well done. All right, let's throw out our TFFL trivia question to get going here.
Stick, I lost you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
You still there, Kramer?
Did we lose Kramer?
Kramer seems to be freezing up.
I got you. I'm back.
All right, he's back. Yeah, a little delay.
You didn't miss anything. All right, let's ask our TFFL trivia question. I almost forgot what it was. I didn't scribble it down. I'm looking for. It's a 2-part question, and the first part has 2 teams that you're going to be responding with. Second part only has 1 team. So 2 parts, 3 teams total. I want you to name the 2 franchises that have never won 10 games in a season. And I want you to name the 1 franchise that has never lost 10 games or more in a season.
Throughout time.
Since 1997, our modern era.
But there's a book I couldn't.
In the case of some of the expansion teams, I am not looking back at what the Fever or the Fugitive Hogs did.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward question. 2 teams that have never gotten to 10 wins or more in a single season. 1 team that has never lost 10 games or more.
Okay.
All right. Hank, let me turn it over to you now. TFFL standings. Again, just 4 weeks to go. Playoff race shaping up and a clear group taking aim at the number 1 overall pick at the bottom of the standings.
Okay. Yeah, we are getting to it. Like you said, 4 weeks to go. So let's look at it through 9 weeks. let's look at the division leaders. We got the Fats, and as you said, 21 in a row. This is getting really insane. So good luck to the Fats. I mean, at this point, I think, it's rather impressive. Let's see if we keep going. Senators leading their division, as we've discussed, the tie break over the Hams right now. They keep winning. They are on track to claim the South. So good luck to the Senators. The Devils, they are on a 3-game slide right now, and as mentioned, they're just one up on the Mongols. And Terry, I know you've been depressed this season, but you're only one back right now with a head-to-head. So there's the Devils slipping a little bit. Ampac have got a 1.5 game lead now on the K Wheels. It's just standing at 4-4-1, but right now they're the division leader. Still in the hunt. Let's talk about these middle teams. The Hams. 6-2-1. Again, the difference is the loss with the Sens. They are leading the wild card battle right now. Lizards, they are right there, looking good. They've been kind of getting stronger as we go. The Aliens, though, right behind them, get games against the Lizards. Yep. Get a chance to break the fat streak. So there you go. The Mongols, they're hanging on. Like we said, they're only a game back, so who knows? All right, these guys are starting to fight other battles, and yes, I have moved our beloved K-Wheels to this level. Started 3-0, now 0-6 in the last 6 weeks, but they still are only a 1.5 games back, and again, division games coming. So it could go either way. We'll see. Sponge Fishermen, Slippery Beavers, 2-7, looking bad, but what they really need is they need to win. Because the Killers are going to hold tie breaks on everyone.
This iPad.
So if they win, this is still up for grabs. But the Killers lose out, they're the winners. So indeed, the battles for positioning are on.
Come on back.
You're back. Yep. You're back.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I got an old iPad.
Tapping it should help.
Yeah. Tap. No, you're there. All right. So there we go. We've got some division leaders starting to step up. We got a big battle in the South. Devils better get it together. Terry, you can waltz right through there.
Yeah, the Devils have still, until this past week, they'd still been putting up some points. They've taken some tough break losses, but they've still lost 3 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, so I couldn't help but selfishly note that at the moment the Aliens on the outside looking in, despite a winning record, that would actually be the 2nd straight season we would miss the playoffs with a winning record. But games against the Lizards, especially that's the big one. Really, that's the one that I think we need to win to get back into the playoff hunt. Terry, commissioner report. Got at least a couple items I know we want to chat about.
Yeah, we want to just remind everybody of the trade deadline, which is noon on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So 2 weeks from today at 12 noon. Kramer, you should be able to get 3 or 4 trades in that time. And then everything else, all systems go. I did send out an email. I'll make another request. Anybody feeling like they want to write a commissioner's report, I need a hand next week. So let me know.
Need somebody to write the commissioner report.
We'll talk offline, but I might be able to help you.
All right.
We'll cover you.
Yeah.
So I had asked you to clarify the free agent picks in the postseason rule.
Yeah. Did you? I missed that. Sorry.
And I'm sorry, I could have dug into the rule book perhaps, but having missed the playoffs last year, I'm not familiar with this rule. Do you have to have free agent picks saved up, or do you get new picks to use in the playoffs?
Well, here's what I know, and I happen to have the rules right here, if I can find it. Any pickups you make in the postseason, you cannot be a keeper the following year.
It's a good rule.
Wait, what was that? No.
Pick somebody up.
If you
can't keep that guy.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
In the
playoffs, correct.
Can you use IR picks too? Come on, Kamish.
I don't know. Can you use an IR pick if you have one?
All right.
I'm not prepared.
That's all right. That's all right. So I had a couple bonus questions for you because you often don't have a lot to report, which is a compliment to a smooth commissionership. But previous commissioners have talked about how being commissioner has impacted their ownership of their own franchise in one way or another, either distracting them or making them more in tune with what's going on around the league. Have you felt any of that thus far?
Yeah, I have. I'll say, you know, and we're not even through a full year, but you know, in looking at the scores every week and following things and doing in the webcast, I am more in tune, I think, to what's going on every team rather than just mine, which, you know, can be beneficial. But I think it's also, you know, made me, you know, I've made, I think 3 trades this year, which is a big year for me trade wise. So I think I've maybe been a little more willing to step out and make a trade as well. But yeah, I think the being commissioner hasn't hindered, if you could do that, my managing of the Mongols. But I think it's helped a little bit actually.
Good. All right, let's go into our roundtable chat here, and let's get right back to the Senators. I don't know if Nate has left us yet or not. There we go.
He's still with us.
All right, so first question, I'm always just curious, Kramer, how often do you watch the webcast? And Nate...
every week. If I remember that it's 9 or 9:15 on a Wednesday, I'll try to put it on the TV. But if not, that's a nice hour to have in the background while I'm at work, is listening to the cast.
Billable hours?
I don't have those anymore working in-house.
Fair enough. All right, let me go back real quick to your quarterback, Tom Brady. I think it was maybe 3-4 years ago. We spent a lot of time on the webcast talking about the Brady dilemma and when you should trade him. It just seemed obvious you were going to trade him. You held on to him. I guess my first question is, did you ever get close to trading him? And yeah, how do you feel about that decision now, hanging on to him all these years and becoming a TFFL power again with him?
Yeah. I don't think I was ever close to, well, I think maybe 3 years ago when the Sens were really in the toilet, you know, if somebody made me a big offer, maybe I would have done it, because, you know, he was going to retire in a year or two, you know, he's been going to retire in a year or two for the last 6 years. But I mean, go back and look at his stats. He's got over 30 touchdowns every year. He's got around or over 4,000 yards every year, single digit interceptions every year. And doesn't matter who's at receiver. Doesn't matter if Gronk's having a down year or if his running backs are has-beens or, you know, ne'er-do-wells. He's been consistent. For many years, I made offers to Chief to when I owned Brady, after I owned Brady, and I acquired him in a 1-for-1 for Mark Ingram. I'd say 7 years ago or so.
Wait, that was the trade, Brady?
That was a 1-for-1?
Yep. Straight up.
Who did you do that with?
With Chief. I traded Ingram for Brady.
Oh, I wish you were here, Chief. You got to defend that, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty. That's my recollection. I think that was the trade. I don't think there were any picks, and there weren't any other players. It was before the trade tracker, so it's not going to be in there. But after that, I made a dozen or more Brady for Shady trades offers.
What's Brady for Shady?
That's LaShawn McCoy.
Oh.
And he was in his prime, and Brady was, supposed to be in his decline, and Chief never pulled the trigger, and probably was never close to doing it, but those were the only ones where I would have moved him, but I don't remember any other offers that I received that made me want to deal him. And after the season he had, after he was suspended, I just felt I'm going to keep him until he retires, whenever that's going to be. It doesn't make any sense. Was that frozen up there?
Just for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to keep him until he retires, most likely. That might be this year. It might be in 5 years. And we'll see. If he turns into Eli Manning or Peyton Manning at the end, which is going to happen, then I'll pick up the next rookie, the next hot thing. But I'm not going to draft a rookie QB every year, because this is going to be Brady's last year.
Right.
No, you've had an amazing, 6-7 year run with him that I don't think even you would have anticipated him playing this long at this high level.
Yeah.
All right, let's fast forward to this year. Talk about the Senators. Just remind people real quick. You won the division title in 2017.
Correct.
With a fairly stunning come from behind run down the stretch. This year you've been strong from the start. You're 6-1. You've got a good team. Several people on this panel know and it's not a surprise, you're making trade offers. Tell us how you're trying to improve the Senators down the stretch, what you see as weaknesses you want to shore up.
Gronk has been a big disappointment this year. He just has one touchdown. It was in week 1. He hasn't had a 100-yard game. Maybe he did in week 1. He's been a big bust. But otherwise, I've had good, solid contributors each week.
So has Dion Lewis.
Well, Dion Lewis, Nate was against the Dion Lewis first-round draft pick from the start. He did prove himself this past week to knock off the wheels. He's only got 2 TDs on the year. But I've had at least 2 running backs and 2 receivers have good weeks every week. Hopkins has been solid. Juju Smith was hot in the beginning. He's cooled off the last 3 weeks or so, but T.Y. Hilton will jump in, or John Brown will jump in during a bye week. Traquan Smith is banging on the door, trying to get in the starting lineup. Julian Edelman can be in the lineup. Taylor Gabriel has found chemistry with Trubisky. I need running back depth. Mixon and Kamara are 2 studs at the top. But with Gronk not performing, that makes that third running back slot
Jordan Reed.
Jordan Reed is back with the Sens, right? That's a spot that I would like to fill if I could. It's just going to be tough to decide whether to sit Gronk and put in a Jordan Reed or Dion Lewis.
Dion Lewis, yeah.
Going down the stretch.
Well, Dion Lewis seems to be the guy that would be the logical guy to put in there. I mean, Kamara is arguably, behind Gurley is the guy, right? He's been great. And Mixon obviously has been, really solid for the most part. And you're right. Gronk with 1 TD is certainly unexpected, and especially with – what was the Ertz trade? Did you traded him Ertz for Gronk, and were there draft picks involved?
A 1-2.
Of a 2020 first round.
No, it was next year, 2019. So it was Ertz and my first for Gronk and Berto's second.
That hurts. That's
well, I mean, yeah, maybe. that could be the first pick in the second round, and hopefully the last pick in the last pick in the first round and the first pick in the second round.
Could be.
Hopefully those picks are 12, 13, and hopefully Gronk turns it around here in the second half of the NFL season and the home stretch of our season.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying the reason you make that trade when you did was to get this season right now out of Gronk, because you know he's not a 5-year player where Ertz probably is, and you need to see it. He needs to pay that off, man.
Yep. Yeah. Right now, I'd rather have Ertz on the team for sure.
Hey, did I hear Nate trying to peddle a 2021 pick?
He's learning well.
Yes.
He's learning quickly.
All right. Speaking of Kramer trade offers, does everybody get texts from you? Are there owners you find that are more receptive? And who do you like to banter with? Who do you not like to banter with?
The usual. I mean, everyone knows that Nick and Ralph don't respond to texts. But I'd say to a man, everybody else does. Iannuzzi takes a little too long to get back to my girly offers.
Are you including Kamara in those early offers? Because there's
Berto hits me up more than I hit him up. He peddles the most trash in the TFFL, hands down.
So you gotta do what I did with Berto, which is just tell him straight up, I'm not trading with you. Period. End of story. We don't talk about it anymore.
Well, he's got no talent on his team this year. Besides Ertz, right? Besides Ertz.
Well done, Nate. See, that's insight right there.
Berto always seems genuinely surprised when you turn down one of his trade offers. Really?
Yeah.
Let me know. I thought that was a great offer.
Bill responds very quickly. I always appreciate that. Everybody. Terry can sit on it for a bit long. Phil's good. Likewise, Stick doesn't respond promptly to any text. Phil does. Chief, he's responsive. The Hams will respond to. By the way, I hung out with Michael in Las Vegas on Friday this past week.
Nice.
He was coming back from San Francisco, and I was out there for a shindig and met up for lunch and then a fish show.
Fantastic.
A shindig?
Yeah.
A confab?
Something.
All right, hey, Kramer, I want to apologize. Sometimes I feel like I'm too defensive in my responses to your texts.
Yeah.
I should enjoy the conversation more.
Okay. No problem.
Any other questions from our panel for Kramer? For Nate?
No.
Hey, you have any questions for these guys?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just want to say that when I get Kramer's text, if my responses are too defensive or too harsh, it's intentional and they're meant to be taken that way.
You froze up. I didn't hear you.
Yeah. Well, my comment was that when I send you back harsh responses, they are meant to be taken that way.
Right. Okay then.
All right. Next topic for our roundtable chat is a topic I think when the, as they say, the history of the NFL gets written or the history of the TFFL gets written. One of the big stories of 2018, if not the biggest by the end of the year, is going to be Le'Veon Bell sitting out at least 9 weeks now, presumably 10 and maybe all season long is a real possibility. I know we have polite ears on the show tonight, so I won't use my bad language here. But what the heck is Le'Veon Bell doing? He's given away. I mean, I'm kind of biased as a Steelers fan, but this just seems ridiculous. He's giving away at least $10 million, $12 million in salary this year. He is, I think, killing his reputation and probably hurting his endorsement opportunities to some degree. As I think it was Thornburg who said this guy's only going to be 26 years old once. He's given away a prime season in his career. I guess John Riggins did that a long time ago, but I don't think that strategy generally plays well. So my quick questions: is he going to report at all this year? What's your sense? What will the Steelers do with him when he does? And how much did this guy really torpedo the Slippery Beavers season? They're 2-7. We could probably look back and see what an extra 10 points a week at running back would do for him. I'm guessing it's cost him at least a couple games. And being 4 wins would have him right in the division race right now.
All right. Well, I'm the loudmouth.
Terry, take it away. Steeler fan, Terry, take it away.
Well, I'm done trying to predict, I think, what Le'Veon Bell was going to do. I thought originally he was going to come in week 8. That came and went. Apparently he was seen working out at a gym in Pittsburgh today, but he hasn't contacted the team. I think he reports, signs the tender, but I have no idea how they're going to work him into the offense and how that doesn't upset what seemed to be, a calm down locker room. And then, James Conner's great season can't be helping Le'Veon's, free agency position at all. But, I've as a Steelers fan, I kind of got disgusted by the whole thing and kind of quit reading about it. So I don't know all the rules, but I think he has to report by the 13th. Or he's out for the entire year. I don't know how that impacts the franchise tag. But I think at this point, as a Steelers fan, just sit out the rest of the year.
Well, the way I understand that is that if he doesn't report by the 13th or whatever the date is, he cannot get an accrued year on his contract. So basically, next year, we're in exactly the same situation we were this year, and he still owes the Steelers a year on his contract. So he's done nothing to improve his position except age a year. I mean, this guy is playing this really poorly, I think, right now. I don't know what his long-term plan is, but I mean, I bet the Steelers would take a couple of water bottles and, some tackling dummies, to just get out of this headache. And I know he's good. He's really good, but come on, man.
Well, when he shows up, right before week 10 or 11, whenever he's got to be there, Connor has proven that he's as good as Bell. The stats show he's been as good as Bell over the first 12 weeks of a season. So do they try to have a split backfield? Do they make him a healthy scratch? Do they even want him in the locker room? His teammates turned against him very early, and that strengthened management's hands mightily because they were very vocal guys. I think more on the defense
and some of the
didn't want him around.
Yeah,
and that might be the key point: is that what he's going to disrupt the chemistry on that team. To a who knows what effect. I don't think it'll be that positive. So I don't think you really want him there right now.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think, Stick? It's your team too.
A few things. I thought I read somewhere that if and when he reports, the Steelers have something like 2 weeks of a roster exemption or something. They don't have to activate him right away. So I think that would be one thing they would do is intentionally say, yeah, for 2 weeks, we don't have to do anything. You're not playing. When he comes back, I don't know if they would be in a position to just make him inactive for the rest of the season, pay him a salary and make him inactive. I don't see why they couldn't. And given his Bell's stance on trying to stay healthy for a long-term deal, I don't think he would oppose that.
No.
I think you guys have all made the point, and I think it's a big knock on Bell that Connor has had a great season. I don't think he's as good as Bell, but I think Bell was never going to get next year the amount of money the Steelers have offered him. But especially now that Connor has come in and showed that Bell may not be quite as special as we thought he was. He's not going to go get $20 million a year or whatever he's looking for. Just not. I don't get it. I think he's losing tens of millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
And I get the sense he doesn't really want to play football. He wants to be a rapper. He wants, I don't know, whatever. But I'm with Terry. If he comes back, I don't want him. Find a way to make him inactive. Trade him. I think they get a 3rd round pick for him if he leaves via free agency. A compensatory pick. So I don't think they're going to trade him for a couple water bottles. But if somebody gives them a 3rd round pick that they feel is more appealing than the one they would get at the back of the round, that would do it.
Sure.
But yeah, he's a big blow to the Beavers this year.
I mean, does Gruden have any picks left? Maybe he'll throw a couple at the Steelers. I don't know.
He probably would. That'd be a good guy to talk to. And in terms of the Beavers' impact, that's a good question because they're 2-7. Christian McCaffrey's had a pretty decent year. You know, you figure Bell, you know, big games. You give him James Conner's stats, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's a 3 or 4 game swing. Yeah. Just in, you know, I don't know how many games have been blown out, but that's, you know, it's impactful.
All right, so our last topic on the roundtable chat this evening, I want us to take a look back at the top of the 2017 draft. This is Kramer's suggestion, and it's a great one. 2017, we had a ton of really talented running backs. We knew we were going to go 5 deep to start the draft with potential impact running backs, stud running backs at the top of that draft. Let me tell you the order they went in. This is not a quiz. Amsterdam Packers at number 1 overall last year took Leonard Fournette. The Senators, big surprise right out of the gate at number 2 overall, took Joe Mixon. Number 3 was the Beavers with Christian McCaffrey. Number 4, the Lizards, Kareem Hunt. They took him after that big game in week 1 that I think woke everybody up to him. And the Amsterdam Packers, with their 2nd pick in that group, Dalvin Cook at number 5 overall. Take a look at those 5, and if we had this draft again, who would go number 1 overall, and how might this order shift significantly?
All right. Well, since Kramer asked the question or brought this idea up, and he picked number 2 and took Mixon, which at the time was a surprise. I mean, I didn't think as highly of him. I did think he'd be one of the top 5 guys, but I wasn't thinking he was 2. The guy that surprised me when Berkman took him at 4 was Hunt. There was a couple other guys too that were in that running back class. That when Hunt went 4, I was like, wow, Berkman really, you know, because I think he traded up to get him. And, you know, when that happened, I was surprised. But Hunt has been awesome. And he might be the guy who's been the most reliable over this time. He continually has scored. Granted, he plays for the Chiefs. But I would think I would take him top overall. Fournette might be the best back, you know, but he hasn't played enough. And Cook hasn't played enough either. So I think it's Hunt, and then McCaffrey and Mixon, you can argue that. They've both been good. Fournette and Cook a little bit later just because they haven't played.
Remember with Hunt, though, he went a long stretch last year without scoring a touchdown, maybe 10 weeks.
Yeah, he did.
Yes. He was you could call him a bust. After the first season, I don't have the stats in front of me.
He did have a long stretch, but then he then picked it up again a little bit at the end of the year.
Led the league in rushing, didn't he?
Yeah,
I thought he did too. I thought he was among the top guys.
Maybe.
But I think you're right. There was a stretch where he didn't score touchdowns. Yeah.
But
he's been great this year, and he's on a great offense. He looks like the best of the bunch of those 5. The biggest surprise draft pick I thought of those 5 was McCaffrey at 3. This is not a PPR league, and it shows Bill's not a great assessor of talent. Let's be frank. Let's be frank. This is the guy that followed up his McCaffrey pick with Mohamed Sanu in round 2. This is the guy who told me at the draft weekend, James Conner, he's just not. I've seen him play. He runs too high up. He's going to get tackled too quickly. For all the football he watches, it doesn't translate into draft picks. Nevertheless, I would put it. I don't know. Fournette has never been healthy, and yes, he was the number 1 pick last year. Anybody would have taken him at 1, but going back to LSU, he has never been healthy. It's always been foot issues and ankle issues and lower leg problems. You can't have that out of your workhorse back. Mixon, I think, has still not come near his peak. And, I'm really bullish on him for the future and hopefully down stretch here in 2018. Dalvin Cook, had 4 games or 5 games where he was a monster and hasn't done anything since, week 5, 2017. Will he ever be that back again? Hopefully.
That 70-yard run on Sunday looked pretty good, though.
It looked nice.
No, I was on plane. Didn't see it.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with all you guys. That Hunt is the clear number 1. And mainly because of the situation he's found himself in. And for the foreseeable future with Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, and Hunt, he's number 1. McCaffrey, he showed signs of being better this year, but I think I would go Mixon number 2, then McCaffrey, and then Fournette and Cook, just because part of being really good is being on the field every week, so they need to show up. But you can find a running back on a good offense like Kansas City. That's the one.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of it too, is that he's just in the right situation right now with the right talent. I'd like to have him.
I mean, remember the 2 guys talent-wise who stood out from that group were Fournette, who was the clear number 1 overall pick, and Cook. And I'll tell you, out of those 5, 3 of them are among the 10 highest scoring running backs in the TFFL this year on a weekly scoring basis. And the 2 who are not in that list are Fournette and Cook. Kareem Hunt is the number 5 scorer running back. I'll give you this real quick here with 14.3 points per game. Number 8 is Joe Mixon. He has not been healthy every week, but when he plays, he's scoring 10.2 points a game. And Kramer, you can knock McCaffrey, but he's a productive running back. He is the number 10 scoring running back at 8.9 points per week and kind of does it week in and week out. Just ahead of Zeke Elliott, actually.
Ahead of Zeke, that's impressive.
Just one, a little bit ahead of Zeke, yeah. So 5, 8, and 10, three of those running backs from last year are among the 10 top scoring running backs now. So it was a good crop. Order might be a little different. Good question, Kramer.
And didn't Kamara come out of that same draft?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. He did, and he was the 2nd pick in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kamara went late. Kramer stole him, and I frankly was not looking at him that high at all. So, well done.
Here a fun fact is that the Packers took Fournette at 1. There you go. You've got it.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, Fournette at 1, Cook at 5, and he was the pick right in front of me in the 3rd round. I'm going to say to DeAndre Washington. Who was it?
Even worse, Darren McFadden.
Darren McFadden.
Yes.
So he could have had Kamara with his 3 picks. I took Chris Carson with my next pick in the 4th round.
Wow.
That draft.
That was a great draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start going on to week 10 here. Terry, our TFFL schedule and a game of the week for us to talk about.
Yeah, got some decent games this week. Really building up in week 11 and 12. But the Mongols face perhaps the hottest team in the league, besides the Frams, in the Lizards, who've won 5 in a row. The Beavers play the Aliens as you look to get back on track. The Devils, at 5-4 and on a 3-game losing streak, are facing the unbeaten Frams. Sens, 6-2-1, are playing the Killers. Sponge, 2-7 at the Wheels as they try to get back on track. And then the game of the week is the Bro Bowl. The 6-2-1 Hams playing the 4-4-1 Packers.
Go Pack.
Week 10 action. And,
nice.
I want to go back to the FAIR picks in the playoffs and clear that up. I'll read the rule to you as it is in the rule book. FAIR picks can be used by playoff teams during the playoffs, but those players return to the general FA pool once the playoffs are over. In the case of an FA pick, the roster spot is not recovered by the releasing team. So I take that to read that you can use an FA pick and you can use an IR pick. But you can't keep those players after the playoffs in the case of an FA pick.
So I guess if you cut a guy to pick up, let's say my kicker breaks his leg, I pick up, let's say if I drop a guy to pick somebody up, I can't protect and I can't trade him in the offseason. I'm not going to own him.
You're not going to own him
when the playoffs end.
That's correct.
It's a rental.
It's a rental.
Okay. And I don't get back the guy I cut.
The roster spot is not recovered by the releasing team. No.
All right.
And you have to be savvy enough to have saved a pick to use.
That's correct.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So on the Bro Bowl, I got to tell you, I think the Amsterdam Packers actually look like they have the stronger lineup. I mentioned earlier that the Hams have a lot of nagging injuries. I think, if Patrick Mahomes comes out and scores 40 points, all bets are off. But Matt Ryan had 30-something last week. He's back in the lineup for the Amsterdam Packers. I'm going to give them the edge here.
Good.
I don't want to believe the Packers are going to have, that strong of a run, but you're sort of right in that they've been looking good. I mean, the Hams are going to need Mahomes to be big for them. But they still got players. They got Tevin Coleman and they got David Johnson. They can put up points. That'll be a game.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough game. Packers are starting to get healthy. I mean, he's got Fournette in the lineup right now. Maybe he's ready right off the bat and has a big week. He needs more out of Zeke. But maybe if Mahomes is throwing those touchdowns to Tyreek Hill, they won't hurt so much. But I still think the Hams are going to pull this one out, but in a real tight game.
Okay.
Kramer's got a rooting interest, obviously.
Yeah, Packers in a shutout. 79 zip.
Nice. All right, let me give you our trivia answer. Start wrapping up here. I'm looking for two teams that have never won 10 games in the regular season, and one team that has never lost 10 games or more in the regular season. Let's start with the never won 10 games.
Wheels.
The Steel City Mongols, always a good bet.
Sponge and Mongols.
And the Sponge Fishermen are the other
That's
teams.
what I got too. Sponge and Mongols.
Oh, there were two that hadn't won 10? I thought it was
Correct.
just one.
Yeah, two.
And there is one team that has never lost 10 games or more.
I got the Hams.
This is also the Sponge Fishermen.
Sponge. Nice one.
Sponge.
All right. So Terry and Hank got 2.
Yep.
Nice work, T-Row. Kramer got nothing for the guest, though, huh?
Nope. Sorry,
No.
guys.
Guests are having a tough season. We haven't had a lot of guests, actually.
No, yes, the guests have struggled, haven't they? All right. Sounds good.
All right, Kramer and Nate, thank you very much for taking the time.
Thanks for having us, guys.
What's Nate's bedtime?
It is before right now, though. The kids in New Jersey, there are teacher conferences
No
the rest of the week, so no school.
Wow.
We had those the first part of this week. Kramer, I wish you luck. We had a couple of long days at the Hawken House.
Nate wants to do his draft right now. I said, no way, bedtime.
Yeah.
We don't have
That's
any
not happening.
tomorrow.
Well, we'll do it before the game starts.
There you go. Good. All right. Well, hey, good luck in week 10. Again, these are, Terry, it's starting to be make or break every week for you.
Every week.
Hank, you're in the same boat. You can still get right back in it, but another loss might be the end. Alien's starting to get into that same territory as well. And again, Kramer, every week back and forth with the Hams, big games. Heading down the stretch. Good luck to everybody. Best wishes. Take care. We'll see you back here next Wednesday.
All right. Take care.